It is no secret that the next gen, or the Generation 7 NASCAR Cup car, has faced a lot of backlash over safety over the last few years. With this car, we've seen an uptick in driver injuries. However, NASCAR's most recent driver injured has defended the safety of the next gen. Today, we're going to take a look at the crashes that have caused injuries, look at how NASCAR has tried to improve safety, and see where we currently stand on the safety of the car. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys subscribe and leave a like if you enjoy. It really helps me out a lot. Also, be sure to use code NFJJ75 at the top link in the description to get a free sticker sheet with the purchase of the Daily Downforce's NASCAR 75 magazine. Anyway, let's get into the video. To begin, we have to go back before the introduction of the next gen car. Rumors first began to circle in the NASCAR community in July of 2021 that the car was too dangerous to drive. This mostly stemmed from a test on June 30th, 2021, in which a crash test dummy was killed in a crash. Well, it was never alive, but the censors suggested that if the dummy was a real person, they would have died. This particular part of the rumor has since been disproven by NASCAR, but other rumors were proven true. Caleb Jacobs reported that the car was allegedly too stiff and did not have enough crush zones. This would be a lingering problem that swelled over to the first season of the next gen. In early 2022, drivers appeared to be aware of the safety concerns heading into Daytona. In fact, Joey Logano compared himself to a crash test dummy in his Daytona dual wreck. But after some big hits at Daytona, NASCAR seemed to be happy with the performance of the safety of the car, even writing an article about it on their website. This article stated how NASCAR had softened the front and rear of the cars, and it appeared to be working. That was until Pocono just a handful of months later. Kurt Busch was involved in potentially the most infamous next-gen car crash when he crashed during qualifying at Pocono. Albeit a hard hit, this was somewhat of a routine wreck. You back into the wall, walk away, and you're still racing the next day. However, Kurt Busch was not able to race at Pocono, or the next week, or the rest of the season. A severe concussion was cited as the reason. Then, Kurt Busch would announce his retirement from the sport and has not raced in NASCAR since. At the time, Kevin Harvick was very outspoken about the incident. He stated, "There hasn't been a lot of progression other than we changed some of the rear clip stuff, we changed some of the impact stuff. But these cars don't crash like the other cars crash. They're violent impacts, and they feel a lot different than what the crash data G-load is. It goes straight through the driver's body." He went on to say that safety was not a top priority in NASCAR, and that nobody, except the drivers, understand the violence that comes with the cars. This would be proven by 2 more accidents in 2022. At Texas Motor Speedway, just 2 months after Kurt's crash, 2 drivers would suffer injuries. On lap 98, Alex Bowman suffered this wreck.
Come around so quickly here, we'll ride along. I don't know if it's the bump. It looked like the bump upset the car.
Just 90 laps later, Cody Ware had this accident.
Back of the car around like he's spinning out right here in this shot, and then, don't know why he was sideways, having a mechanical issue, tire down, don't know, and then got turned to the right and head on into the wall.
Alex suffered a concussion, while Ware was diagnosed with a fracture to his ankle, 2 torn ligaments, and 2 hyperextended ligaments. Now, these 2 wrecks were very alarming for drivers, for 2 different reasons. With Bowman's, it was a very soft impact to the rear of the car. With Cody Ware, albeit some hard impacts, the impacts were to the front and the side of the car. Bowman's crash confirmed fair suspicion of drivers and fans alike that the rear of the car was too stiff. He would be out of the car for 5 weeks before he returned. What's even crazier is that he finished the race with concussion-like symptoms just a few laps down. The wreck wasn't even hard enough to knock him out of the race. But Ware's crash was alarming because the impact was not to the rear of the car, and it wasn't a concussion. Cody raced the next week at Talladega before taking a week off to recover. Cody went on to state that in any generation car, he would have probably been injured, and did not blame the new car. Maybe it was just because of Kurt's wreck and Alex's wreck in the same race, but Cody's wreck just added fuel to the fire. Many people in the NASCAR community still raised red flags and blamed the new car. Although Cody's was a hard wreck, we see hard wrecks in NASCAR all of the time. Now, it was established that drivers were not safe from an impact, anywhere, front, side, or rear. Heading into the 2023 season, NASCAR rightfully brought some upgrades in safety. The major piece here was softening up the rear clip, adding more crushability into the rear of the car. Jim Utter reported that there were fewer bars on the newer model, altered bar designs, and holes in existing bars where you would expect them to bend. NASCAR stated that they had been working on this even before Kurt's incident the year prior. With all of this said, drivers were optimistic heading into the 2023 season. That was until halfway through the year when Noah Gragson had this hit at Gateway.
Gragson hard into the wall. Turn one, extremely hard into the wall with the right side.
Boy, that has been calamity corner today.
Noah was sidelined for, yet again, concussion-like symptoms due to a rear-end impact. Now, this one was more expected, as it was a much harder impact. But the cars, or NASCAR, did not get the benefit of the doubt when it was announced that Noah would be sidelined for the next race at Sonoma. This comment by JD185 was pretty much the consensus after the wreck. Out of all the concussion crashes so far, this one was the hardest, and this is after they fixed the crush zone. I'm glad NASCAR is finally making safety improvements to the next gen, but it looks like we still have a ways to go. But after this wreck, the conversation slowed down. Drivers periodically stepped out of the car after a wreck and would say that they felt the impact more in this car, or reference the Hans device fully extending on the smallest impacts, but nothing really headline grabbing. By the end of 2023, the conversations about safety had almost completely stopped. Noah's accident was completely overshadowed by his horrible season and suspension from the series. But at the spring Talladega race in early 2024, Eric Jones suffered this horrible wreck.
I don't know if I'm alright.
It was reported at 70 Gs and was obviously really nasty. After Eric's radio message asking for help right after the crash went viral on X, where he began to sit in for fans. However, Eric came out just fine. Until quite a time after the wreck, Eric went back to the medical center after feeling extreme pain and discomfort in his back. He was then diagnosed with a compression fracture in a low vertebrae. As of recording this video, he is only scheduled to miss one race, but it'll likely be more. During an interview after it was revealed that Jones would be out of his car for a week, he stated that the next-gen car gets a bad rep. At the end of the day, I think the car did its job. And not that Reddit is full of engineers and professionals, this comment sums up most of the reaction. I think it's pretty obvious that this version of the car does a really good job at keeping drivers safe, after they improved it multiple times since its introduction. In fact, there was more resentment of the medical team than the car itself, but that's a whole other issue. But injuries do happen from time to time. Hard hits, or sometimes a series of soft hits, have led to concussions and worse injuries. I mean, even the Truck Series has had a lot of injuries in the last few years. Just take a look at Dale Jr.'s concussion history, or Eric Almirola's freak accident at Kansas. Injuries do happen. Although NASCAR is investigating why Eric was injured in this wreck, and other drivers haven't been injured in other similar wrecks, I think it's just one of those times where the stars aligned at the wrong time for a driver. Just look at these other wrecks that have happened in the next-gen car, and everyone walked away fine. I honestly think safety is in a good place right now in NASCAR. In 2022, it was a completely different story. Although NASCAR has faced scrutiny in the last few years, I think we can praise NASCAR for their improvements with this car. Anyways guys, that's it for this video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. But that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.